Be Sure to Cook. Today we're going to be doing meatball subs. We're going to do everything homemade. And I'm going to add a little Creole seasoning inside of there. I'm going to give this a great stir. That guys, I am good to go. I hear you. Yes. Oh my God, that is wonderful. So that was about 4 to 5. Come back. Bye.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Be Sure to Cook. Today we're making homemade biscuits from scratch. So stay tuned and let's do this. Okay, in a large bowl, I'm going to add what I call my sifter, my strainer, my everything, because this can be a sifter also. It's a strainer, but it's so fine, and these are like a metal covering over top. You can actually sift, and you can drain your food. I love this thing, and this thing is very good. It came in handy, and it's called Ox. So I love this. So I'm just going to put this in my bowl, and right now for our recipe, we're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Okay guys, I need 2 1/4 cups of flour. I've already put 1 cup of all-purpose flour in here, and this is my second cup, and as you can see, it's a cup of flour, and I'm going to need 1/4 cup of flour. This recipe that I'm making actually calls for 4 cups and a half flour. Okay, I don't want to do a 4 cups and a half. That's a lot of biscuits, and that's if I'm making them for a lot of people. And actually, I'm just making them for, some friends that come over and everything. So we're just making that for this morning because I have some guests here. So I'm just going to make a couple of biscuits. Okay, so as you know, I'm going to sift this. You don't have to sift if you don't want to, but I just like sifting, get all that stuff out there. Here we have a teaspoon of salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and we're just going to dump all this in here. We have a tablespoon of baking powder, and we're going to dump all this in. 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. Okay, then I'm going to mix this up, incorporate all this as good as I can. So you want to mix this up well. Okay, I am mixing this up as good as I can, and make sure you don't want to mix it up while all your flour's everywhere, falling all over the table, because when you do that, you have that baking soda and that baking powder in there. You want to make sure that stays in there. A lot of people use butter, and if you're going to use butter, make sure you get a 1/2 stick of butter if you're making this recipe, and you want to get it really cold, and then you want to actually shave it. You want to put it in here, you want to do all that, and I'm pretty sure there's recipes for butter, but right now we're using shortening. And what we did is we're using 1/2 cup of shortening. It's a 1/2 cup. Okay, I've got the shortening in here, and I'm going to take, okay, that was a little bit going out of the bowl, but that's okay. So we're just going to make sure all this is out of our hands. Make sure your hands are washed very thoroughly, or you can wear gloves. Me, I don't have any gloves, and I'm just an old-fashioned girl, and I like doing everything with my hands. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to just start squeezing this all around my bowl. Okay, when you're mixing this up, you want to make sure you take that oil, and you want to make sure that gets all incorporated in your flour until it looks like clumpy, like this, and it breaks apart. But you want to make sure you have no loose flour laying in the bottom of the bowl. You want to make sure all that grease gets incorporated. Okay, now I have buttermilk, and this is a 1/2 cup of buttermilk. Now if you need more than a 1/2 cup, what I'm going to do is kind of work this in the middle. Okay, as I'm stirring and I'm kind of smashing, because we don't want to really overwork these biscuits. So if
that buttermilk was a half cup of buttermilk. But if you stir and you feel like it's just not enough, just go ahead and add some more, a little bit more buttermilk. But once you take it out of the pan and you kind of like, we're going to take this out of the pan right now and put it on our board so we can roll these out. Okay, now we're going to need something to roll our biscuits on. So we're going to be using our board. And now I'm going to take a little flour and make sure this board is very clean. Everybody make sure when they doing it on their board or their countertop, make sure you wash your countertop, dried it off really good, and it's clean. Let's spread this flour around just a little bit. Okay, now here we go. Our dough. Now, what we're going to need with our dough is we're going to need a rolling pin, which we have a handy old-fashioned old roller pin. I like this. I've been having this for years. I've been having this ever since my children was very little. But I do have other rolling pins that we could use, which you have the old, smaller roller pin that I can use. But you know what? I don't use this. This is me because this is the old-fashioned way. And I've got all different types of rolling pins. But today we're going to be using the old-fashioned rolling pin. Okay, so I got a little flour here, just a little flour to put on the dough. I want to pat that down, and we're going to be using our old-fashioned roller. Okay, I'm going to roll these out about an inch or a quarter thick. I like my biscuits to have thickness. I don't like to be real thin. Okay, a little bit more flour, rolling around. I roll these out till they're a little bit thick. I like my biscuits thick. And then I'm just going to cut them. And guess what I'm cutting these biscuits with? I remember when I used to work at this real expensive restaurant. And I was the prep cook for, this real expensive restaurant. And I used to make biscuits every time I came in on my shift. I was the prep cook, so I had to prep up everything and cook everything, and I made biscuits. Everybody thought I made the best biscuits. Okay, when I did these biscuits and I did rows, I did homemade rows too, guys. When I did biscuits and I did rows, I'm telling you, they gave me this old tin can. I'm serious, the can that you would get for a vegetable can, and I used to cut out the biscuits with that can. Every time you cut out your biscuits, you're going to be left with some extra dough. And when you're left with that extra dough, when you put your biscuits over, just turn around, make it a ball again. And you probably won't have to use any more flour after you make that. And you just make it enough where you can just put in the cutter and cut down on it, and every time you'll get a nice biscuit. Okay, here's my pan, but guess what? I don't want to grease and I don't want to flour. I'm going to use my old silicone. I love these. These things you can wash, you can rinse off, and sometimes it does leave stains, but this is very, very clean. And the stains it leaves, like if you bake pizza, get the pizza sauce, and this is pizza sauce is staining. It's very hard to get that up. Okay, so here's my biscuits. I'm going to lay some biscuits down. Okay, I've laid 6 biscuits down on this big pan, and I don't want to overcrowd the biscuits. I want them to actually grow and be delicious inside this pan. You always have one biscuit at the end because you're trying to make it. This is my end biscuit. It's not really uniform like every other biscuit. So you just take that. Sometimes you might have little bitty leftover long little strips of biscuits. When you take it, you cut it, and you got all the biscuits, but you got 2 little long pieces. Put those in there. Give those to the kids for snacks to run around with. But these are going to go in a 350-degree oven. Some people, oven might be a little bit cooked a little bit faster. You can do up to 350 all the way down to 325. Okay, so I already preheated my oven and it's ready to go. So I'm going to leave these in about 15 to 20 minutes. Check them to see if they haven't plumped up and got golden brown. Okay, now the biscuits are done, and I'm going to plate the biscuits. Now, you know that I cut these with my grandson's cup. It's an old cup that he had. It's not really old, it's a sippy cup. So I just used the sippy cup for the round shape of each one of these.
one of these biscuits that I had, this is the one that didn't come, I couldn't actually form right because it didn't take it, so I had to make it form into a biscuit. You always got one left. So I cooked about 4 to 5 biscuits. Now I've got some wonderful butter that's melted here, and I'm just going to brush this biscuit with some butter. Of course, I have some more biscuits over here. It wouldn't fit. And here you go. Okay, here it is, homemade biscuits. I have a biscuit here on the side. The one that wasn't, formally right. I just want to break that open and show you that fluffiness biscuit inside. Oh my God, that is delicious. Little butter and a little jelly or honey, and you got it going on. How about sausage? Sausage and egg in there. Oh my God, you have your own breakfast. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed our show today, and I hope you come back to watch many more shows. Because guess what? You and me, we did this together. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I want you to come back and see me another time. It's time to say goodbye. Bye. Flour, different water. Y'all need to let them cook.